It is August 1944, and John von Neumann is panicked. Von Neumann is one of the world's greatest living thinkers, and he's standing on a train platform in Aberdeen, Maryland, waiting to go home to Princeton, New Jersey. A young mathematician, Hermann Goldstein, recognizes von Neumann. He's an intellectual celebrity. But von Neumann's lost in thought. The outcome of the Second World War is still uncertain, and von Neumann is part of a team of leading scientists who are supposed to do something about it. The emerging technology of the moment is computing, which can help make artillery more accurate. It's not going well. Goldstein knows something that von Neumann doesn't, and a chance encounter on a train between Baltimore and Philadelphia shaped what became the tech economies we live in today. Hi, I'm Chris Wink. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Technically. We are a news organization with a community of technologists and entrepreneurs. We're organizing today, so my job is to set up some themes. I am going to come back to von Neumann in a moment. 3 big themes, but first, thank you guys for being here. More than 500 of you will be here over the course of the conference. Got a few hundred more coming to party in the evening at the signature event, food, drink, and playing with video games. Decent way to spend a day. And it doesn't happen without you guys. Thank you also for the many Technically clients who are joining here. And today is part of, as Sam alluded to, Philly Tech Week presented by Comcast, 13th annual. So I have to thank Comcast, our generous host, in the oh-so-sleek Comcast Technology Center. It is a gorgeous building, so you'll enjoy it. Thank you, Comcast. And one small announcement. In the next few weeks, technically, we're going to unveil our first tech economy dashboard. We'll be having detailed diversity metrics by technical roles that will be made entirely public. Thank you, the City of Philadelphia's Most Diverse Tech Hub initiative. And we have a deep dive for clients and the Technically newsroom that we'll be using to beef up our reporting on how tech workforces and tech economies are changing around the country. So those themes, 3, entrepreneurship is booming. It wasn't always. We can't waste this opportunity. 2, demography is destiny. It will shape who is working and where. 3, the digital transformation era is over. Technological shifts bring in paradigm moments, and we're experiencing one. The age of AI really will change what we do. First, entrepreneurship is booming. In 2019, if any of you were entrepreneur support organizations or like startup news publishers, you were wasting your time. Sure seemed it. You were operating in seeming futility. Since the 1970s, Americans were starting fewer and fewer and fewer businesses every year, despite what you saw on TV. It wasn't happening. And at one point, an advocate told Technically that millennials were on track to be the least entrepreneurial generation in American history. The pandemic changed all of that, as you guys have experienced. Business starts surged during the pandemic. Even now, 3 years after the fall, we're starting businesses at higher rates than we did since the 1980s. It's a huge transformation, and it's happening across demographic groups. Black women are disproportionately likely to start businesses right now. So what's the catch? We know we're at a conference organized by a news organization. It's not all going to be good news. What's the difference? Well, people who start businesses increasingly look like the American population, but those who grow businesses don't. That's the gap. Put a different way, women, Black, and Hispanic Americans are likely to start companies at relatively similar demographic rates as our country, but those who employ people are far less likely. They're far less likely to grow them. That is increasingly the gap we are seeing and have to address. And we know growing companies matter. 1, it is the best wealth-generating tool we have. It is better than boosting your Zillow valuation. It's also where all the jobs come from, like all of them. A 2013 analysis showed that all net new jobs, they come from new companies. Big companies matter a lot because they employ most Americans. They operate at enormous efficiency and scale. And small businesses are important because it's all the culture we care about. But if you care about jobs being created for people, if you care about wealth being more evenly distributed, if you care about new products and services, you have to care about entrepreneurship. That's where it's happening. And it's not happening in the ways we want to see it. Second theme, like Comte wrote, demography is destiny. We all know that around the world, after that second war, everybody had a baby boom. But American boomers did something that a lot of other rich world boomers didn't. American boomers had a lot of kids. It's the millennials. That, and by the way, hi, I'm one of them. That means something really big. The American population pyramid has two bulges. The boomers, who are retiring and taking with them millions of work hours and billions of investment dollars, and those millennials. We are in our late 20s and early 40s. We're being hired into those those mid-stage and late career roles that we're all looking for, the senior roles that we're all desperate to hire for. Even today, more than half of Americans living are millennial. Gen X, it's a much smaller generation. That's so punk rock of you guys. And the kids you guys had, that's Gen Z. We love you, but it's also a pretty small generation, 5 to 7 million fewer than millennials. So if you try to replace lots of boomers with diverse but relatively smaller in number Zoomers, you have a structural shortage in a workforce. And it's coming for us, and we haven't entirely solved for it yet. That's something we're going to have to address, and we talk about workforce. But it's also happening amid a big geographic realignment. Americans are moving south and southwest. We have been since we invented air conditioning. And in turn, that means the Northeast and the Midwest have been declining. What are the exceptions? Places that attract immigrants and millennials. So pandemic or not, New York and DC are fine. Chicago and Philadelphia probably are too. Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Columbus, Ohio are gonna make the cut, but we have a lot of work to do. Milwaukee, St. Louis, I'm still nervous. And I think those communities have to really think about what's gonna take place there. This is gonna change how our cities work and operate, who you can hire and where. Demography matters. So what does that mean for all of you guys? Hold on to the boomers as long as you can. That can mean upskilling, but it's 4 tools overall that we have: immigration, education, parties, and stories. Immigration, it's declined in recent years, but still the United States, we are the most attractive place for immigrants to move to. It's not even close. International hiring will help many of your companies, but we can attract the best of the world. Why wouldn't we? 2, education. K-12, college, research, career changers increasingly. We still need more people in tech economies. It's what we need to do, and we have to keep working on it. 3, parties? Like tonight, it's a recruiting strategy. A vibrant tech and entrepreneurial ecosystem is about business development. It's about recruiting, and it needs to be done and done well. Parties help. A vibrant economic strategy involves a vibrant city, and we need to see it happen. And last, stories. Authentic storytelling is the only way to distinguish your city when every city is a tech city. It's the only way to distinguish yourself when every company is a tech company. Authentic storytelling is how you do it. And we technically like to do that work. Von Neumann was doing his work at a time when the workforce was surging. Ours isn't. The only big question we have on the workforce side is whether this generation's emerging technology will be as disruptive as many of us think it might be. Which brings me to my third and final theme for the day. Technology shifts bring paradigm shifts. The digital transformation era is over. For 30 years, many of us have done this work, industry by industry, brought online, made more efficient with software and data. It's what all of our careers have lived in. Many of your businesses will keep helping the laggards, but the war is won. It's done. The next frontier is building with artificial intelligence. And as all of you are well aware, even the most expert are real nervous about how this is going to play out. The biggest to date survey of machine learning researchers from last year, about half of them put the probability of an extinction level event at 10%. Interestingly, a quarter of them said there's a 0% chance of that. We don't know how this is going to play out. Into the breach we go. So what does that mean for you guys? Two things we do know that AI is going to mean for building teams and for building tech economies. People before companies. AI will not replace what we do for each other. It won't. It is our distinguishing factor. We have to care about people. Your best recruiting strategy for companies, for employees, is not more technology. AI will not save you. Your people will. You have to tell their story to attract more to your community. And two, invest in a city that learns. A secret for you, the easier it is for you to do your job remotely, the easier it will be to automate your job away. The relationship side is crucial. Learn how to use Java to have a job today. Learn how to manage people to have a job tomorrow. Learn how to learn to always have a job in our economy. When everything is so automated, the only way to cut through the noise is authentic storytelling. It's what we as people see through, which brings us back to a train station platform in August 1944. John von Neumann was there because he just ended a big meeting about the state of American supercomputing. It wasn't going well. The US military, like any investor, had made a lot of big bets. None were looking very promising. The project at Harvard was way too focused. The one at Bell Labs was too convoluted. The one at Columbia was more talk than substance. Oh, New York. Goldstein was part of the team at Moore College and University of Pennsylvania that was working on the ENIAC. It was another of the computing bets, but it was kind of a laughingstock among researchers. The budget was seen as too bloated. John Mauchly, the founder, his vision of vacuum tube computing was seen as impossible. It was going to be a $10 million paperweight. But Goldstein was a believer, and he knew that von Neumann was the difference between getting the support to make it happen. And von Neumann was desperate, so he agreed to take a visit. And he was impressed. He threw his substantial weight behind the project, and it worked. 6 months later, the ENIAC was debuted. It was the first time the word computer was ever used to describe a machine. We know that the computer scientists didn't save and win the Second World War. Those physicists in the desert, whether you like that or not, they did that. But the men and the many women behind the ENIAC set in motion the digital age we are living in today. It happened through serendipity. Serendipity changes the course of humanity. Density of people creates serendipity. Train stations between Baltimore and Philadelphia and day-long conferences do that sort of work. It's crucial. So our themes for the day: entrepreneurship is booming. Demography is destiny. It will shape what your work does. And the digital transformation era is over, and we're in a new one. Back then, the trains were still running during the Second World War. Isn't that funny? World-changing moments never feel like they're world-changing because you're still doing the laundry. We all lived through a pandemic. The world changed. I imagine you all are still doing laundry. So you're not thinking about how big the world has shifted. It has. And we need to build. So welcome to the Technically Builders Conference. I much appreciate it, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.